Mentiroso.
Lorenzo, what are you doing in here? Oh, are you hiding from Rita? I got your back. What's her fighting style? Is she a grappler or a striker?
She's a stabber.
No, she's not. She's just a girl who doesn't know how to talk to a boy who doesn't know how to talk to a girl.
And why don't you give him a woman?
Oh, sure. Lorenzo is. You want to be open but mysterious, strong but bold, big but not afraid to look small, present but not clingy.
I definitely do not. But I got why all three of you are single.
Look, Rita's having her disciplinary hearing today at Principal Madison's office. You want to help her out, you got to tell everybody what's really going on.
And not only do I have to tell Rita how I feel, but I have to do it in front of a room full of people.
Yeah, just speak from the heart. Look, if you open up to her, I'm sure she'll open up to you. Or as Rita would say, don't be stupid, stupid.
You understand the charges against you and your rights in this disciplinary hearing.
What, you think I'm deaf? Like I can't hear you through these monster hoops? Let's cut to the chase. I want to know what you have to say for yourself. I ain't saying nothing without my lawyer. He's the guy who speaks on the plus coach. His number is 888-888-888-888.
I believe Lorenzo has something to say that might clear things up.
Why do you have to ruin everything? You're worse than mother!
Lorenzo?
So, I was thinking, right? About how things went down. What could have been was still to be. You know what I'm saying? You stupid.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Hey, if you want to help your girl out, why don't you tell Rita how you feel about her?
Look, when you first started stalking me and blowing up my phone, I didn't really know what to do. I liked it. And then when you were tackling me and taking my money in the hall, like, you didn't really say anything. Because I didn't want you to stop.
Wrap it up before they send you to counseling.
What I'm trying to say is, you don't have to try so hard to get my attention to me. Because I like you, Rita. I have to get to know you better. That's it.
Hey, you know what? Let's go to swap meet and get all freaky.
Okay, my dad needs a new tarp.
Hey, bring me back a bag of gas.
A bag?
So, Lorenzo, if you had been honest with Rita in the beginning, none of this would have happened?
Yes, ma'am.
Uh-huh. It's the man's fault.
They're not so stupid, right?
Mm-hmm. Rita, you can go back to class.
I think you're forgetting something.
What about Negrito?
I'm...
So, I'm not going with a script on this one. Like I said at the beginning of the last stream, Ukraine is still going through a lot of shit right now. To put it probably far too lightly. And, like I said during the Saturday stream, I looked up ways to help the Ukraine, And I found this article that has a list of charities that are offering humanitarian support to Ukraine and its people. And if you would like to help, I've put the link with the article of all the list of charities in the description. And I've also put another one in there for Direct Relief, because I found that they are offering humanitarian support to Ukraine as well. I'm not sure if they're on that first list. TRG Coliseum is over, but still, feel free to donate if you can. Be sure to take care of yourself first and foremost, financially, above all else. But if you have anything to spare, maybe give it to people who need it. Now, with that out of the way, I am going to go back to being a distraction. Alright. What's up, everybody? It's CS Nazo, and welcome back to Great Ace Attorney 2! In the last part, we got Professor Hairbrain declared not guilty of his, we got him declared not guilty of the murder of Mr. Asman. And in this part, we're going to be starting a new case. The Twisted Karma of his, and his last bow. I'm going to increase the volume of this game a little bit, because I know there's going to be a cutscene at the beginning of this. Alright.
Pipe in hand, Sholmes looked down at the thick, rolling fog outside our window. I wonder exactly how many mysteries are out there, hidden within this bed of fog, he said. Indeed, a most bizarre incident, born of a curious advertisement. A hellhound's mad gallop through the shadows of a serial murder, an executed man's graveyard resurrection in the dead of night. And a commonplace killing in a small, forgotten room at the edge of town. There is, naturally, always another side to every case, of which most remain ignorant. And it is that other side which compels me to the scene of the crime, Wilson. So quickly now, take your hat and let's be on our way, my dear fellow. For our adventure is not over yet. Come, the game is afoot.
"8 days after that earth-shattering trial and Kazuma regaining his memory, we are in the foyer of one of London's most luxurious hotels, the Great Waterloo Hotel. 1st of November, 10:24 a.m. Great Waterloo Hotel foyer. Professor Migatoba is due to arrive at any moment. Yes, I'm so glad we got here in time. Susada-san hasn't been the same since what happened. Not that I'm surprised. The truth about Kazuma-sama's father. Do you suppose my father knew? That he was actually the mass murderer? The professor, you mean? I knew that's what she was thinking about. There's a good chance, I'd say. I mean, they did come here to London together 16 years ago, didn't they? Yes, that's true. Come to think of it, didn't you say that Professor Migatoba knew about Kazuma going missing in Hong Kong as well? That's right, but for some reason, he wasn't at liberty to talk to me about it. That probably means he knows about Kazuma showing up here in London with amnesia, and that he's regained his memory now. Ah! Ah, there she is! Oh, that's the judge! Okay. Hello, Susato. How are you? I'm very well, thank you. We're delighted you've arrived safe and sound. I just realized I don't remember Mikotoba's voice. I think I gave Mikotoba the judge's voice. I think. I'm not entirely sure. Hello, Mr. Naruhodo. Very kind of you to take the trouble to meet us here. Oh, no, not at all. It's my pleasure. We've heard all about your extraordinary exploits here in London, you know. The news has crossed the seas. It has? I always look forward to reading the monthly reports that arrive with the steamships from Britain. Oh, I see. Well, thank you very much. Who is this man? Why do I feel as though I've seen him before? I take it from your expression that you can't quite place me. In that case, yeah, give him basically the same voice. For that, I apologize. In that case, how about a little reminder, Seshiro? A firm tap should do it. Yes. A firm tap? What? Here we go, then. I hereby pronounce the defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, guilty. Ah! Oh! You're... The court will now hear the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Okay, he still has a mustache. For whatever reason, I didn't remember it. I didn't, whatever. Your Excellency! Oh, hello, Judge Jigoku. How are you? It's been a long time. Ha 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 ha! Good, you've remembered now. That really did the trick. Guilty! Ha 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 ha! Only I was declared not guilty, wasn't I? And there was no laughing at the time. So, London again after all this time. Hard to believe it's been 10 years. To be honest, I never thought I'd be back. Neither did I. I didn't imagine Japan would ever be invited to an international symposium like this. Though really, I doubt anyone did, to be honest. It's all thanks to you, isn't it, Seshiro? What are you talking about, Eugene? Ha 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 ha! Of course, Judge Jigoku. He must complete the cell. He's the other man who 16 years ago came to London with Kazuma's father and Professor Mikotoba. He's the third visiting scholar. Well, all those passport checks and luggage searches at the border took rather a lot of time. I must say, I'm very envious of your ministerial status. You didn't have to go through any of that, did you? Ah, I knew you were jealous. Ha 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 ha. Something tells me that that's gonna come up later. Sorry, ministerial status? Yeah, that's gonna come up later. Yes, didn't you know? Seshiro here is also Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs. It was his personal insistence that allowed you to take Kazuma's place here on his on the study tour. Guilty as charged. Ha 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 ha. Oh, well, thank you very much. He's really every bit as important as he looks. Ah yes, now, Naruhodo. I received a telegram from Lord Strongheart yesterday. Oh, you did? It appears that some things came to light in a trial you were involved with 8 days ago. About what happened 10 years ago. That's tragedy. Yes, could you tell us more about it? Yeah, I had a feeling that was going to pop up. Your journey from Japan. So, how was the voyage here? Well, 50 days at sea is a long time by anyone's standards. But it wasn't as bad as when we first came 16 years ago. No, that's true. Then I truly wondered if we wouldn't be drifting in the vast ocean for the rest of our lives. This time we followed the same route as you, so we were able to relax and enjoy the experience. Ah, so you stopped in France's beautiful capital, Paris? We did, yes. Though only for one night. And yesterday evening we left the port of I'm sorry, I can't talk. the port of Dunkirk for Dover. Just in time for the symposium, in fact. It starts tomorrow. It's wonderful that you were invited to attend such an important international event. I'm very proud of you, Father. It's all thanks to Sashiro here. 16 years ago, he managed to ingratiate himself with Britain's Attorney General. I'm sure that's why he was invited, and I suppose you could say I'm something of an appendage by default. Speak for yourself, Eugene. You were close friends with a professor of forensic science at a major hospital. Yes, well, I'd rather not dredge all that up, really. No, there's been a lot of water under the bridge since then, but it doesn't bring him back. Kazuma's father, I suppose. And let's talk about it! The professor, the killer who took the lives of 5 members of the British aristocracy, was actually Kazuma's father, wasn't he? That's correct. Genshin Asuki. Genshin. I'm sorry, I need to make disgusting sinus noises. I think I'm a little better, though I may have to do it again a bit. You knew, I presume, Father? Yes, he was a close friend at the time. Genshin came to Britain as a police detective. He was studying investigative techniques at Scotland Yard. I've never understood what drove the man to commit such heinous acts. It was a closed trial, so the public never knew the truth, and he was executed with little ado. To this day, very few people know what really happened, even in our homeland. But what about Kazuma? Did he know? Did he know the truth about his father? No, of course not. He was told his father passed from sickness. However, I suspect he may have had his doubts. Oh, why? As you know, I tried to guide Kazuma growing up, as if he were my own son. Then one day, he came to my office at the university and said, I've decided. I want to travel to Great Britain and study there. Oh yeah, I forgot the voice I gave Kazuma. Just gave him my normal voice, whatever. Do you think he wanted to come here to investigate his father's death? I don't know. But when I looked into his eyes, I did know that there was no way I'd be able to stop him. Something else came to light in that trial the other day, actually. Oh, what? Well, having disappeared in Hong Kong and been missing for almost a year, Kazuma since turned up here in London, working as the apprentice of Lord Van Zieks. What? What? That's new sauce! So, Lord Strongheart's telegram neglected to mention that part then. Kazuma's reappearance. As you know, we both thought Kazuma had died on the steamship during our voyage to Great Britain in January. But he didn't die. He's alive. As you knew, didn't you, Father? In actual fact, no. What I did know is that when your ship docked in Hong Kong, he mysteriously vanished. We sent a team of investigators to Hong Kong to try to ascertain what had happened, but to no avail. But he's still alive and here in London, you say? I'm sorry, I had to make this because he's dinosaurs again. Sorry, I actually started to feel a bit sick from that one. I never dare to even dream it. Why on earth did the young man not make contact? The government and the police have been chasing clues fruitlessly for months now.
Well, in his defense, he had amnesia. Well, it seems he was suffering from amnesia.
What? Amnesia?
When we first came across him again here in London, he didn't know who either of us were.
I see.
He only regained his memory 8 days ago.
This is unbelievable. Yes, it's quite miraculous. I wonder why Lord Strongheart didn't let us know. I must speak with him urgently.
Do we even know where he is? I wonder how Cosmo's been these past few days. Would it be wrong of us to go and visit him? Where is he? Where did he go? What did he do after he just walked out? What happened? Where did he go?
That began 16 years ago. It's a distant memory, really. But I decided that the judge has a slightly lower voice than Mikotomo. It was Eugene here, Genshin, Asogi, and myself. We were the original three. The first judicial scholars from Japan to travel overseas to study. Ocean voyages were not what they are today, I can tell you.
16 years ago, things were tough for their generation.
Your father was an exceptionally fine medical student at Yume University at the time, you know, young lady.
Yes, grandmother told me.
He went to do research at a great London hospital to study autopsy, practically unheard of in Japan.
Yes, it was an eerie place, sandwiched between the back of a prison and a burial ground.
Not more talk of graves. Very often, there's no one willing to deal with bodies following autopsy work. So you see, autopsy labs have something of an unavoidable relationship with graveyards and prisons. Not my cup of tea at all. Do you remember this, that Scottish prison governor? Caden was his name? He was a good man. What? Oh, they're talking to each other. Yes, then, but then of course, in our 6th year here, everything changed with that dreadful case. When Genshin was arrested for a series of the most gruesome murders. I simply couldn't believe it. I'd known the man for years. I was a witness at the secret hearing, and I tried to speak in his defense, but you went a little too far and ended up facing charges yourself, didn't you? Well, suffice to say that after that trial, we were sent back to Japan.
There was nothing more we could do to save Genshin. He was a lost cause, sadly.
Well, if you'll excuse us now. Yes, I'd like to get this trunk up to my room as soon as possible. Oh, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have held you up here for so long.
I'll call for the porter then. Just wait here.
Susanoo-san's gone off at a run. I'd like to stay and talk more, but I do have various preparations to make for tomorrow. Yes, of course. It must be a big responsibility representing our entire country. I wish you the best of luck. Naruhodo. I hope you'll keep an eye on Susanoo for me. Keep looking after her as you obviously have been.
Oh no, I mean, if anyone's looking after anyone, it's her looking after me.
Well, I do appreciate you being there for her. After all, I've been a miserable father to her. I've thoroughly let her down.
Sorry? What do you mean?
Well, it was 16 years ago that I started my long study tour here in Britain, as you know. The very year Susanoo was born. Yes, I heard. The birth of my daughter was the most joyous event of my life, but... well, sadly it was accompanied by the most tragic event of my life, too. Oh, yes, Susanoo-san hinted at something like that.
It was a rather turbulent time at home.
Anyway, I won't bore you with the details. The point is, I became rather less dependable than befits a grown man. And when it was then that Shiseido offered me the opportunity to study here in Great Britain, I was too worried about you to leave you behind.
So perhaps I was a little heavy-handed when it came to persuading you to accompany me to London. So, that's what happened in a nutshell. His wife died, didn't she? And that's also the reason why I now feel compelled to give my daughter as many opportunities as I dare. Though the world does not readily afford young women such things, I must say. I completely understand, Professor. Ah, one other thing, Naruhodo. If I may be so bold, I have a favor to ask you. Oh, really? Of course. What can I do for you? Well, the thing is, I'm so sorry that took so long. Mr. Sato. Now then, allow us to take your bags. Allow me to take your bags. One moment, if you please, Porter. Of course, sir. That machine around your neck is a camera, I believe. Quite right, sir. Just 5 shillings for a lovely photograph to commemorate a wonderful stay at the hotel, sir. Well, I think, given the occasion, we could justify the expense. Ah, yes, of course. I'd like to thank you for coming with me, Mr. Naruhodo. It's really made Father very happy, I think. Oh, well, I'm pleased then. But we were interrupted before. Professor Megatoba was about to ask me something. Shall we return to Baker Street then? I expect Iris will have some delicious tea waiting for us. Yes, let's go. I'm getting more and more anxious about Kazuma, though. Perhaps I'll try to meet with Lord Strongheart later and ask after him. Alright, to Baker Street. Whoa, hold on. I gotta do it again. I'm back. I'm sorry. I gotta do that a lot more now. I'm sorry. Shum Suite. I don't remember that newspaper being there, and I don't remember that mask being there. 1st of November, Shum Suite. I don't know how to make that sound. What was that? A man screaming. A man screaming in a most unflattering way. Do you think? Could it have been Mr. Sholmes? Oh my, I do hope not. I don't do it anymore. Mon ami, mon ami. Hold on, let me see if I can get the accent. Stop this disrespectful display, eh? Who are these people? Look at their hair, it's bright red. I think they must be clients of Mr. Sholmes. And here's Gina! Right, you two, you're coming with me now, down to the clink. No, not in prison. It is dark and damp and I don't like it. Both the darkness, it is my friend. I am not scared. Wee? Is that the sound they're making? Wee? But you are always scared of the dark. Shut your mouth, you idiot. I will sit quietly in the dark and plan our next daring exit. Ice, my bad. I don't like this, I don't like it. Well, tough. We'll finish this down the yard. Now get moving. Bye then, Genie. Have fun. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, thanks, Iris. And thanks, you great detective. Gina makes a fine detective herself, doesn't she? Oh, Susie and Runo! Hello, Iris. We're home. Well, did you find your daddy? Yes, we arrived at the hotel. I'm sorry. Yes, we arrived at the hotel just before he and his friend. Oh, well, that's great news. I hope I'll get to see my daddy again soon. Ah, yes, of course. Dr. John H. Wilson.
Dead!
I'm gonna guess this is Sholmes.
So, Iris, all that remains now is that greatest of problems known to man. Okay. But before we concern ourselves with that, I believe some tea is in order, don't you, my dear fellows? Is something wrong, Mr. Naruhodo? Do I have a crumb or such like on my face? Not so much on your face as on your head, I'd say. Come along then, everyone. I've brewed a lovely special blend. Time for tea. Oh God, maybe I have COVID again. I hope I don't. Whatever's going on here today. In that case, let us sit and drink now. For I am, in fact, expecting a guest later today. Your two visitors. Mr. Sholmes? Who are the two gentlemen that were here before? Oh, just a pair of petty criminals. Nothing of significance. Of course, they have to make a living somehow. Now, when the mood takes me, I'm willing to turn a blind eye to all manner of infractions. When the mood takes you? All manner of infractions? But when such fellows set their sights on Mr. Herlock Sholmes, well, that's when their luck runs out. Oh my! You were the target of a crime, Mr. Sholmes? But I quickly devised a plan to entrap them and deliver them to our young detective ally. You should have asked Regsy to come too. We could have had an arresting tea party. I did send word, but no answer was forthcoming. The man is consummately in the wrong place at the wrong time. There's a word for it, I'm sure. Aha! I have it! A bungler! That's the word! It's a good job. He's not here to hear you say that. So those redheads had been up to no good. I wonder what the men did. The greatest problem. What was that about the greatest problems known to man that you mentioned before? Is it another fiendishly intricate case, Mr. Sholmes? How should I best explain it? Are you aware of the theory of evolution by natural selection, perchance? Well, I think I've heard talk of it somewhere, possibly. It's a revolutionary scientific theory that was newly proposed 40 years ago now. According to its author, Mr. Darwin, we humans were once apes who lived in the treetops. Wait, what? We were apes? Indeed, and from the very moment those apes descended from the canopy to live as humans, it has been our lot to be at the mercy of the greatest problem known to man. Our lot? What is this great problem, Mr. Sholmes? Why, is it not obvious, my dear madame? The problem of rent! But did you not receive a rather large sum of money from Madame Dispels only the other day? Pshaw, a large sum? One punter for Iris and a new motor car for me later, and all of it has quite disappeared, I assure you. Honestly, Hurley, you know you squandered it. Yes, well, anyway, 2 days ago, I discovered the answer to the man's greatest problem for the coming month at least. And what was the answer? Why, there's a substantial clue before your very eyes. Don't tell me. Let me see. Humans are sorry creatures, unable to see what is in front of their noses.
Let me give you some assistance. Don't look, but observe me very closely. There's one particular feature about my person that has changed. You should notice it in the end, I think. Is there some... Oh, okay, so besides the hair, what else is different? In the end? It's been stabbing me in both eyes right from the very beginning of our conversation. I think we might need another clue before we uncover the full answer, Mr. Naruhodo. Thanks for the hint. I'll be tearing my hair out of this charade. I'll be tearing my hair out of this charade goes on much longer. The lie you told. Excuse me. Oh! I'm sorry. Mr. Sholmes, isn't it about time you told us the truth? Just over a week ago, you said to us... I will now tell you something of the first importance, my dear fellow. Great detectives are wont to lie. It will serve you well to remember that. That case aboard the SS Buria in January, Kazuma wasn't killed, and you knew he wasn't dead at the time. So what was really going on? The fellow was unconscious for a very long time. If he hadn't regained consciousness when he did, his life would have been in mortal peril. Of course, a side effect of the prolonged comatose state was amnesia, as you now know. It was a simple enough task to silence the crew. But how? After they carried him out to out of the cabin, I assembled them in the lobby area. 1 second. That did not go as intended. I'll be back. Alright, I'm back. Maybe a couple brisk will help me. Well, can. I made them swear to leave him unconscious and have him unlaid from the ship in Hong Kong as a murdered corpse. Oh, how horrible! It was necessary to find some material with which to persuade the crewmen to keep their word, of course. But why? Why did you do it in the first place? I will be at liberty to elaborate in due course. But for the time being, I would like to reassure you. I didn't foresee subsequent events. What events? His disappearance in Hong Kong. Oh! I believe I may have made a gross error of judgment. Mr. Sholmes.
And we're back to this music after that. Okay, I thought Sholmes might be actually somewhere around the room and I could interact with him and point out that, oh, that's unfortunate. This looks like last week's edition. What's that article circled in red ink there? It's in an advertisement column. It says, to the Red-Headed League. The Red-Headed League? What's that? I don't know. I've never heard of it before, but... I'm just gonna... I don't know why this image makes me laugh, but it does. Clearly this has something to do with that lively hair. The Red-Headed League article has been entered into the court record. Okay. So now... Okay, right now it's a 2D image. Hopefully it stays that way! On account of the bequest of the late, Ezekiel Hopkins of Lebanon, Lebanon, PA, USA, there is now another vacancy open which entitles a member of the league to a salary of £4 a week for purely nominal services. All red-headed men who are sound in body and mind and above the age of 21 years are eligible. Apply in person on the morning of the 31st at the large park on Lime Street. Alright. Well, actually, hold on. The mask. The mask. Now that I'm taking a closer look at it, isn't this the mask Cosmo was wearing? The mask Cosmo wore when he was assigned to Lord Van Zieks' apprentice. When he cast it aside after the trial the other day, I just sort of picked it up. We ought to give it back to him, I suppose. But he has his memory back now, doesn't he? And I can't help feeling he might turn around and tell me coldly to wear it myself. But isn't he your best friend? Alright, present. It looks as though someone circled an advertisement in this paper, Mr. Sholmes. To the Red-Headed League? Does that strike you in some way? I was thinking that just maybe it might be related to your bright red hair. So, at last you've learned to apply my methods, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry? In the first instance, and quite indispensable observation. Believe me, I could have seen that hair with my eyes shut. So then, allow me to regale you with the details of my latest exploits. Regale or boast? The Red-Headed League. So what is the Red-Headed League, which seems to be the subject of the advertisement you circled? You notice it in the paper, though? That, my dear fellow, was going to be the source of this month's rent pay. It was? How? According to the advertisement, the Red-Headed League League is a distinguished institution of fellows of unspecified governance. In fact, the only condition for becoming a member is having red hair. That doesn't entirely surprise me. But listen to what the lucky redheads receive once they join. An unconditional salary of £4 a week! Oh my! £4 a week? But why? What are they paying people for? That I don't know. No details are given in the advertisement. Probably something to do with evolution. But surely every redheaded person in the country would be flocking to join that case. Joining that case. You're right, Susie. There's no time to lose. I'll put in my application at once. So will I. Just on the off chance. That might be stretching a point, I think. The trouble is, they have a fixed number of members, you see.
Oh, I see. So once a certain number of people have joined, no one else can.
But as luck would have it, one member recently passed away.
He wasn't particularly lucky for the redhead in question, I feel, Mr. Sholmes. So you decided to try and join in his place?
Correct. I mean, look at me. Have you seen such a red-headed fellow?
No.
So why did it have to go so wrong?
Probably because they can tell you're not a natural redhead, and like I said, probably has something to do with evolution, like they want all humans to have red hair. Oh god, that just went down a really bad path. What on earth happened?
A blunder, Mr. Naruhodo, though it pains me to admit it.
Your blunder? What did you actually do to your hair, Mr. Sholmes? Wait, is that actually blood? Hold on.
I'm glad you asked, Mr. Sato. What you see atop my head is neither dye nor a hairpiece.
It's blood, okay.
I changed the color of my hair overnight. By the wonders of chemistry.
Chemistry?
I was conducting some research into a method of rejuvenating spent tea leaves. And in the course of my work, I stumbled upon a potion that, when taken, turns one's hair aflame like red. Would you like to try it? It'll make every hair on your body perfectly crimson.
I think I'll pass. But Mr. Sholmes, is it quite safe to drink? Surely it's bad for you, isn't it?
Amateurs are always hampered by such fears.
Oh, I should have never doubted you, Mr. Sholmes. You mean to say...
But of course! To earn £4 a week, one must be prepared to turn a blind eye to a little danger.
That degree of red signals more than just a little danger, surely. So anyway, Hurley left full of confidence yesterday with his new red hair. For the park on Lime Street where the Red-Headed League were interviewing prospective new members. So what went wrong?
The whole park was chock full of red-headed folks like a Cossack's orange barrel. I queued for 8 hours solid before at last I reached the front. But when the panel of interviewers saw me, they immediately said, "Ah, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, you are in disguise to conduct an investigation."
Oh, they recognized you. All right.
So naturally, I had no choice but to reply, "Shh, don't give me away." After which, I could do little else but turn and leave. Then this morning, when I looked in the mirror, irritation stirred within me. So I turned that pair into the police.
Why? Wait, were they the interviewers? Oh dear, what a disaster. For Hurley and those two redheads. Oh, they must have been the ones who ousted him in front of the interviewers. I'm sorry, my hand's itchy. Mr. Sholmes, you mentioned before that you were expecting a guest today?
Indeed, Mr. Sato, that is correct.
Not another one of those red-headed gentlemen that were here before.
Not at all. They were petty villains. The guest I am expecting is a client.
Oh?
A young gentlewoman who wishes to appoint the services of this great detective, no less.
Oh, how wonderful, Mr. Sholmes! I'm gonna take another sip of my tea. Excuse me.
You must stay and observe the fashion in which a great detective receives his customers.
Must we?
I have you in my clutches now, Rent. Just as I have you in my clutches, redheads. Ha 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 ha!
That hearty laugh is masking rather sinister thoughts, I feel. You know, the lady isn't due for another hour yet. Don't feel as though you must wait around if you have other things to do. Alright, in that case, let's head to Chief Justice's office, assuming he's here. Something tells me I'm heading here. Oh, here we go. 1st of November, British Supreme
Court, Lord Chief Justice's office. Here's the final draft of the opening address for tomorrow's proceedings. Oh, that was Lord Van Zieks. I'm not prepared to do his voice outside of trials. Here's a final draft of the opening address for tomorrow's proceedings. You'll actually know, this wouldn't be the first time I noticed that Van Zieks and Holmes have similar voices. I've supplemented your original with the figures you asked for from the yard. I see. Excellent work. Thank you. You're welcome, my lord. What's Lord Van Zieks doing here? My, there seems to be an awful lot of tension in the air, wouldn't you say? This place is stifling enough as it is. We really don't need any more tension. 1 second. Hopefully this time it stays out. My apologies, I didn't notice you come in. Your small stature and dark dress make you all but invisible to me. Oh, no, it's entirely my fault for wearing black, I'm sure. From now on, you must dress in white from head to toe whenever you come here. Now then, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, my lord? I'm right here. Kill me now. Is something wrong? Perhaps it's a little too hot in here for you? Oh, no, not at all. I mean, I've never experienced a room at such a perfect temperature. If you're sure, the beads of sweat carving their way down your face seem to suggest otherwise. Because of the daggers you're staring at me with, mainly. As you're no doubt aware, my International Forensic Science Symposium begins tomorrow. How can I do that in one take? In fact, your father arrived in London earlier today, I hear, madame. Oh, yes, that's right, my lord. He's extremely honored to have been invited. I'll leave the remaining preparations for the meeting room in your capable hands then, Lord Van Zieks. I will attend at once. He gave you a very cold stare as he left, didn't he? He probably didn't like that you took his apprentice away from him. I know, but I haven't done anything, have I? These past few days, my feet have barely touched the ground, I must say. My dedicated right hand of many years was recently put out of action in spectacular fashion. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Is your left hand still of service? Mr. Naruhodo, he's talking about Dr. Scythe. Oh yeah, I actually forgot about that. I'm terribly sorry about that. I was just, Fear not, you've done nothing wrong. Dr. Scythe's own wrongdoing precipitated the situation. You needn't concern yourself with it any further. That would be a lot easier to do if you weren't, if it weren't for the piercing stare you're giving me. Lord Van Zieks is doing an admirable job of holding the fort. Though disturbingly, his apprentice has been missing since yesterday. Oh, missing? What's become of Kazuma-sama now? So no one's told Strongheart. He really did just up and leave. He just went off somewhere. God knows where. Okay. The Forensic Science Symposium. Not long ago, visitor numbers to the Great Exhibition exceeded 30 million. 30 million? Are there even that many people in the world? As a comparison, Mr. Naruhodo, the population of the imperial capital Tokyo is 2 million. I will be opening the International Forensic Science Symposium in the exhibition's main auditorium. This event has been 2 years in the making. 2 years of preparations and negotiations with other countries. It sounds like a tremendous achievement. Congratulations. On the 20th century, we'll see the wholesale adoption of forensic investigation techniques. And
cooperation between policing organizations around the globe will be essential. Which is why this landmark first symposium has to be hosted here at the heart of our great British Empire. In order that Scotland Yard can become the leading investigative organization in the New World. He's the same as ever, I see. That passion of his is quite something. You're every bit as passionate in your own way, I'm sure, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm the only person in this country who truly cares about a future that embraces forensic science. It was my intention to become Her Majesty's Attorney General and reform the Yard from the ground up. So the disgrace of the forensic investigation team has been a bitter blow to my ambitions. The forensic investigation team. I first established the forensic investigation team a year ago, experimentally to start with. With Dr. Scythe at the helm, it was steadily accruing an impressive record of achievement. It was on the verge of changing its name and elevating its status to a full-blown forensic investigation department. And can you not do that now? Yeah, I mean, one of them was found to be guilty of murder. Yeah, murder. Guilty of murder and a lot of other shit. Obviously, nobody wants to hear anything about it at the moment. You and I can't keep the story out of the papers. 6 million Londoners will be cursing forensic science now. This incident will set back our country's advancement in the field by a good 10 years, I'd say. Unintended repercussions of our trial. We simply couldn't have overlooked what had happened, though. Of course not. We should all be grateful to you both. Anyway, I'll still reform this country's policing when I become Attorney General. This might delay my plans, but it won't alter them. Nothing will stand in my way. The missing apprentice. Do we tell him what happened? About Lord Van Zieks' apprentice. Oh yes, that came as a surprise to me, I must say, that you and he are old friends. How did he become an apprentice of Lord Van Zieks in the first place? It came about 3 months ago. An unidentified Asian man was apprehended by border police. They found him hiding aboard a large goods vessel. Oh my! So he stowed away to get here? He had no papers to identify him, no passport, and he was suffering from amnesia too. Other than the fact he was clearly of Eastern descent, there were no clues as to who he was. So I decided to assign him to Lord Van Zieks, that way I could keep an eye on him. But then, why the mask? I didn't want to burden Lord Van Zieks with tiresome explanations about why he had an Eastern apprentice. Because it would be so much easier to explain why he was wearing a mask? He's proving to be a great help to Lord Van Zieks. I have high hopes for his future. By the way, do you know where he's gone? No idea, but I believe he's left London for the time being. Oh. I take it you also didn't know. That the man's father was one of our country's most infamous criminals, I mean? Genshin Asogi. Kazuma's father's crimes. What we learned from that trial 8 days ago was a huge shock. Finding out my friend's father was... yes, Genshin Asogi. The professor case 10 years ago caused a great stir here in Britain. They were such awful murders and unprecedented, using a ferocious dog as a murder weapon. So the okay. So I'm not sure if I figured this out before and then forgot. So the Hound of Baskervilles and the Professor case are linked. And now we know what happened. And no one would have believed the culprit was a foreign student invited to study here by the government. So the true identity of the killer couldn't be made public then, and can't be made public now. Nobody in your country knows it was him, and neither do the citizens of London.
The main motivation was to avoid aggravating relations between our two nations at the time. Yeah, all I'm gonna say to that is, if you have anything to spare, support Ukraine. Correct. However, it has been noted that there were some supporters of the professor's apparent cause. Supporters? Supporters of mass murder? The majority of the man's victims were a blight on the aristocracy of the day. Somewhat ironically, their deaths actually benefited society as a whole. Or so a fair few thinkers in London believed, anyway. Right, I see. It was still murder, wasn't it? It seems very similar, doesn't it? To the idea of the Reaper of the Bailey? I hadn't thought of that, actually. So, are you interested in the League of Redheads? I'm guessing not. I feel like there should be something more, something to signal like, well, you've learned all you've learned from talking to me, you can leave now. I haven't gotten that, but I've done everything I can think to do. Unless this somehow provokes something, which I don't think it will. Yeah, well. Great Waterloo Hotel. No, it was always 4. Why did I think it went all the way down? That's weird. Is the new client here? Ding-a-ling-a-ling! Aha! Here's my guest now! My latest client with money to spend! Oh, I do hope it's an exciting case, Hurley! Remember, Iris, we are at present gripped by the greatest people known to man. I must be willing to accept any case, no matter how unstimulating. Save locating a runaway, of course. Don't spare anyone's feelings, will you? Oh dear, I'm afraid that Hurley can lack a little tact, especially just before the rent is due. Thwack! Mr. Sholmes! Mr. Herlock Sholmes! Please, oh please! Oh, she was one of the jurors from the last case. Please find my husband! He's run away! Oh! So he's not doing it then. To upset me? I beg your pardon? Never mind. A personal matter. My apologies. What exactly are you trying to say, Mr. Naruhodo? I didn't say a word! Come, my dear madame. Be seated. Iris, some tea if you please. Of course. What's the matter, Mr. Sato? Oh, it's just that gentlewoman. I feel sure I've seen her somewhere before, very recently. Yes, now you come to mention it. As I explained earlier, my name is Evie Vigil? Evie Vigil. I implore you to take the case, sir. Money is no object. Simply name your figure. Money and wealth are of little consequence to me, madame. Being offered a case to solve is reward enough. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, you are the picture of benevolence. I will, of course, make a mental note of your offer, however, for contingent reasons. I trust you will remember your words also. If I might inquire, sir. This gentleman and lady would be... Oh, me? What I am about to tell you, I should like to communicate in the strictest confidence, you understand. Ah, these are my friends.
I assure you, you may say before this pair anything which you may say to me.
Ah, I see. I can vouch for the gentleman.
I can vouch for the gentleman personally, after all. He's hard of hearing.
Why did I ever get my hopes up? Alright, converse. Miss Vigil. Forgive me for asking, Miss Vigil, but have we met somewhere before? Quite recently, perhaps?
Oh my! Pshaw, my dear fellow! What is your intention? Clearly you have no ability to differentiate the facial features of the English. If you wish to invite the lady to tea, you must do so in a more gentlemanly fashion.
Is it possible that you're the nice young lawyer from the trial I attended last week? Ah, I knew I recognized her. To have a man's fate in the palm of one's hand. Oh gosh, oh golly, it sends shivers down my spine. I didn't quite recognize her because she's acting so differently now. It must be very difficult for you as a lawyer, being hard of hearing, I mean. Pardon? Oh, that just hit me. I'm not sure if Naruhodo did that on purpose or what. Oh dear, I'm so sorry. Don't worry if you can't hear. It was frippery, really, nothing more. Now look what you started, Mr. Sholmes. Thank you very much.
I believe it would be prudent for you to sit quietly in the corner.
Yes. Mr. Vigil.
Tell us about your husband, madame.
Mr. Vigil, my daily is 40 years of age. I have a photograph here.
An entirely unremarkable gentleman, by appearance at least. How long have you been married?
It will be 15 years this year. We have a cordial relationship. My husband's income is more than adequate, so we live quite comfortably.
As it would appear. I need only look at you to know these things.
Oh gosh!
Your dress is the latest style, your hat clearly regularly groomed, and your eyes are animated. In short, you have no inkling as to why your husband might have disappeared, correct?
That's right. He's a kind man with a strong sense of loyalty, and he rather dotes on me.
Which would point to the possibility that he has become embroiled in some incident or other.
Oh, that is exactly what I fear must have happened, Mr. Sholmes. I'm quite beside myself. My husband's employment is somewhat unusual, you see. What if he's incurred some miscreant's ill will?
What exactly is your husband's line of work?
He's a warder at the prison. Ah, a guard? That is somewhat unusual. Prison warder.
So, your husband is a prison warder.
That's right, yes. Well, in actual fact, he's the chief warder.
Indeed? I see. Well,
I'm sorry.
Chief prison warder certainly qualifies as something of a specialist occupation.
Yes, it does indeed. My poor husband must prepare those dreadful punishments and see that they're carried out. Dreadful punishments? Does she mean capital punishments? And at such times, he must occasionally spend a night or two in the prison dormitory. For that extra responsibility, he is... I'm having trouble reading this. Remunerated more handsomely than other warders. Of course, we make no mention of my husband's work to the neighbors.
Yes, I believe your prudence is justified. Tell me, on what prison is your husband engaged?
Barclay Prison, Mr. Sholmes. Isn't that the one... Soseki, the guy who lived in the apartment before before Soseki and before the painter dude. Isn't that where, I don't even know how I'm trying to say that anymore. Really? Barclay? Oh, a fine establishment. If I'm not mistaken, there's a large cemetery just behind it. Oh. So they're talking about the one from the professor case. Yes, that's correct. Lowgate Cemetery. No. Lowgate Cemetery? The very place we were discussing in court? That's unbelievable. Unbelievable, my dear fellow. And yet undeniable. Sorry, Mr. Sholmes. I'm afraid you've lost me. Pay no heed, madame. Pay no heed. A private matter. This can't really be a coincidence, can it? Your husband's disappearance. So, to the matter of your husband's disappearance. When did you realize he was missing? Please try not to laugh. It was yesterday. I'm sorry? Yesterday? That really is recent. Laughably so. The truth is, my husband does at times have occasion to spend the night away for his work. It's not at all out of the ordinary for him not to return home at night, but this is different. For him to not make any contact for a whole day, that has certainly never happened before. Oh, my dear Daly, whatever can have happened? My dear Miss Vigil, please calm yourself. Now then, have you contacted the police? Why, naturally, but sadly, they refuse to listen to my pleas as my husband has only been missing for one day. I was asked to wait patiently at home. In truth, Miss Vigil, I concur with the police. However, let us not be hasty. I see no reason why we should not engage my deductive powers to track your husband down anyway. Oh, thank you, Mr. Sholmes. And furthermore, let me assure you, a chance to solve the greatest problem known to man for another month has no bearing on my decision. I seek only to put a sweet smile on another Londoner's face. That's really all there is to it. You have my eternal gratitude. I shall pay any sum you care to mention. You seek only to put this sweet rent in your landlady's purse. That's all there is to it. Thank you for everything you have shared with us, Miss Vigil. I believe I have all the information I need to begin my investigation. Oh, please report to me soon with good news, sir. Fear not, madame. In a day or two, I shall be contacting you with a heartening report, I'm quite sure. So soon? Oh, how splendid, Mr. Sholmes. Good news to be delivered early, I always say. If you would be so kind as to leave the photograph of your husband in my possession. The photograph of Mr. Vigil has been entered into the court record. Thank you. Now, allow me to show you the door. I'm going to take a look at that. More detail. This looks like wheat down here. I'm not a botanist. I don't know what plants are. You know, it's probably not wheat, considering this is supposed to be a very, like a mansion or some shit. I can't thank you enough, Mr. Sholmes. You've been simply marvelous. You know, I think it every time, Hurley. But how do you come out with such nonsense? Good news in a day or two? Are you sure? I can't be sure, of course, but then I didn't swear on it. I merely gave the good woman some hope. I hope to be able to give her good news, one might say. After all, the rent must be paid by the end of the day tomorrow. If by that time I successfully located Mr. Vigil, we shall be mutually relieved.
Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo?
Don't look at me with those pleading eyes.
Well, my dear fellow, did you hear the details of the case?
Yes, my hearing is surprisingly good, actually.
Excellent! And what did you make of it?
Well, I was surprised to learn where her husband worked. At Barclay Prison, I mean.
Ah, so you noted that.
Sorry. Of course, especially when with the mention of Lowgate Cemetery.
Lowgate Cemetery is at the rear of Barclay Prison. So it was renowned among the students at the university for being haunted by the ghosts of condemned convicts.
Barclay Prison is where that notorious man was incarcerated. The professor.
And now a warder from the prison has mysteriously disappeared, it would seem. It's all very peculiar.
I'm gonna take a sip of my tea.
Indeed, but nothing you can't handle, I'm quite certain, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry? Run along to the prison and see what you can glean. Would you? It's the prison governor you want? No doubt the man is equally worried.
But aren't you going to go yourself?
Surely you needn't ask. I can't possibly be seen with this hair!
Well, I would suggest you put on a hat, but I have you in the alternate attire. Susanoo, give him your hat. But didn't you go to Lime Street with that hair?
That was a quite different matter. So I leave it in your capable hands. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm rather busy.
Of course you are.
Alright.
Barclay Prison is on the outskirts of London, backing onto a lonely burial ground. Its four high outer walls loomed quietly before us in the fog. Having requested a meeting, we were shown to the governor's office in the watchtower. Subtle. Oh boy, what voice am I going to give this one?
This place is full of hardened criminals. I cannot remember the last time a civilian was done here.
Shrek? Shrek? Yeah, I think I'm gonna do a Shrek voice.
And you don't want to talk to an inmate but to me? Do you know who I am? I'm the governor, barricaded.
Oh, yes, it's a pleasure. I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo, defense lawyer.
And an listener, I see. Does that mean...
Yes, I'm a visiting student of law from the Empire of Japan.
Japan? Did he say Japan?
Yes?
Well, there's no any of your kind in here, laddie. Maybe you should try the prison next door, eh?
I didn't notice another prison next door, sir. Anyway, we came to ask you some questions about...
I don't like to be so direct, but... I've no intention of speaking with legs at you, suspicious-looking Easterners. Now get out of my hair!
As soon as he finds out that we're from Japan, he reacts like this. That surely means he knows something about the professor. I think it's because of the professor case. You think so too? 10 years ago, Genshin Isogi, also known as the Professor, was incarcerated at this prison. And then, after his execution, he apparently re-emerged from his grave in the cemetery behind the prison.
I might have known! You're sniffing around about that case, aren't you? Your agency, part of the Professor's great whip, no?
Oh, Web, not Weeb.
I don't know why my mind went to weed. Get going with you before I punch your lights out! We're going! Really, the ghost of that killer still haunts this place. We're not going to get anywhere here. Unless we can somehow prove to this man that there's nothing suspicious about us. Governor Caden. What are you thinking, Mr. Sato? I feel sure that name came up in conversation recently. You know what? Now that I think about it, yeah, it kind of did. Why can I not place it? That's not me doing a joke. I genuinely cannot place where I heard it. I was wondering if whoever mentioned him might have some idea to help us. Come to think of it, I have the same feeling. Governor Kane, can I at least show you this? How many times can one man turn his back on you in a single conversation? Maybe you know Caden? That's Professor Migatoba over there. Ah, hello, you two. Let me see if I can get the voice back. I was just taking a moment to catch up on the world now that I'm unpacked. But where's Yoshigoku? Yes, he's not the relaxing sort. He's taken himself off to pay his respects to all the legal bigwigs. Having only just arrived in the country today? Goodness, he is full of energy. Professor, you mentioned something before. About how you'd known the prison governor at Barclay Prison? Oh, Governor Caden, you mean? So it is the same man. Father, we must speak with the governor. But he refused to talk to us. He said we were suspicious Easterners. Well, I'm sure if I accompanied you, it would be a very different story. Oh, would you? That would be wonderful if you have time now. Sadly, as you can see, I'm very busy at the moment. Busy drinking coffee and on a comfortable settee? Settee? Is that what they call a couch back then? I didn't catch that last one. Hold on. No, I have rather a lot to prepare for tomorrow, you know? Oh, sorry. Did I say that out loud? I didn't say that out loud, did I? You Migatobas are alarmingly good at reading people's thoughts. Or could it be that you Naruhodos are alarmingly bad at hiding your thoughts? Excuse me. Let's not fall out now. I have an idea. What's he writing on that piece of paper? Here's a letter of introduction for you. Hopefully when he sees my name, he'll change his tune. Ah, thank you! The letter of introduction. Good luck then. Alright. Back to the prison. If you just cast your eyes over this, Governor King. What's this then? You cannot pull the wool over my eyes, you good-for-nothing Japanese student! Migatoba? That young jock from the forensic laboratory? That's Migatoba? Yes, exactly, him! Oh dear, perhaps I should have said something sooner. I'm Eugene Migatoba's daughter, Susada. Jings! You're the young man's daughter? And you didn't think to mention that before? I do apologize. Aye, well, you'd best take a seat then. Can I offer you a cup of tea, perhaps? And did not forget to try one of these wee handcuff biscuits. Your father's influence is nothing short of amazing. I'm bitterly regretting not announcing who I was from the outset now. So then, what can I do for you, En?
Well, we're currently investigating a case. It's one of your warders, you see. He's gone missing.
Missing?
That's right. It's surely been reported to you as well, being the prison governor.
I haven't heard of any of. I haven't heard nothing of the sort. There's no missing persons in my prison.
Oh! But how can that be? It's Mr. Daily Vigil, your Mr. Daily Vigil, your chief warder.
Eh? Vigil?
That's right. His wife came to us and asked us to investigate his disappearance. Let's skip the part about him only going missing yesterday for now. Clearly that means something to him. Would you be so kind as to tell us what you know, sir?
Aye, of course.
Converse! Chief Warder Vigil. We understand that Mr. Vigil is the chief warder here at the prison.
Aye, that he was. Was! Is he dead? Strong sense of responsibility and dedicated to the job, no doubt about it. He was a fine warder.
Sorry, did you say was?
As in past tense? Aye, he doesn't work here no more. He left the job.
Oh my! When was this exactly?
There's a question. When was it about? It couldn't have been much less than 10 years.
10 years ago? What?
$10 years ago?
He stopped working here 10 years ago?
Aye, as I minded.
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble doing the voice I'm reading.
Dear King, I haven't heard the fella's name in all that time. That's a worry if he's gone missing, though.
But Miss Vigil made no mention of it. I think perhaps, Mr. Naruhodo, that his wife simply doesn't know. I think she's unaware that he no longer works here. Governor Caden, can you tell us what happened? Why did Mr. Vigil give up his job here?
That's important, is it?
Yes, I believe it may be. What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo? I can't help wondering, given that it was 10 years ago. Ah! Which was exactly when the professor was being held at this prison. 10 years ago. So Mr. Vigil was actually resigned from the position of chief warder 10 years ago. You're telling us? I'm sorry. The delivery of that last line was really bad. What happened to make him leave the job?
In actual fact, he didn't leave the job willingly. He had no choice in the matter.
You mean he was dismissed?
It was after a particular walk.
Sorry? A walk?
Aye, that's another word for it in here. A walk to the gallows.
An execution?
It's the job of the chief warden to prepare the gallows tree and oversee any executions, you see. Only, Vigil did something unthinkable on that last walk he was manning.
What did he do?
I'm sorry, but I cannot reveal that information. But I can tell you that it's very rare for a chief warder to be relieved of his post.
But why wouldn't Miss Vigil know about it? She appears to be under the impression that her husband still works here.
I wouldn't know anything about that, I'm afraid.
Can you perhaps answer me one more question about the circumstances of his dismissal?
And what would that be, Ann?
That last execution that Mr. Vigil was responsible for overseeing, was it by any chance the professor's? My thoughts exactly.
I'm sorry, I really am. But I'm not at liberty to answer that.
I see. Professor Mikotoba. My father came to Britain all those years ago in order to study forensic medicine. But you seem to have been well acquainted.
The dead room, the prison, and the cemetery have a lot to do with one another. After all, they need fresh corpses for the forensic research. Do you, King?
Yes, I can imagine. The advancement of medical science isn't always particularly palatable.
Your father worked in the laboratory just on the far side of the graveyard.
He's starting to slip into Van Zieks.
In the basement of St. Sinners. It's still in use today.
St. Sinners? That's come up before, I'm sure. Yes, that's right. We've been there.
Mikotoba and I have used to ride in a carriage together and negotiate terms.
We're more fresh material, I suppose.
Aye, and when
God, why can't I talk?
Aye, and we used to sit in here for hours and gab on about dissection and all sorts. Look, he takes me back. Over a pot of tea and a plate of cough biscuits, of course.
How charming.
He was a good fellow, your father, reliable and dead set on his work. But I'm afraid I'll never understand you Japanese.
Because of Genshin Asogi, I suppose.
Well, I cannot tell you anything else.
Thank you so much for your time, Governor.
Oh, one moment before you are away, Anne. I'm sure I have it somewhere. Ah, found it. Here, take this as a wee souvenir of your visit to the prison.
What is it?
That's Vigil's dismissal notice. It's 10 years old now, of course.
Oh my! Are you sure?
Hey, it's no trouble at all. It's not the original, mind.
Vigil's dismissal notice has been entered into the court record. Let's take a look at that immediately. Thank you very much, Governor Kane. Let me look at that. Okay, Chief Warder Daily Vigil is relieved of his post with immediate effect for having violated Clause 132 of Her Majesty's Code of Conduct for Prisons. All rights to redundancy pay and other financial benefits are fully revoked. Aiding and abetting the escape from his prison of convict asterisk redacted the professor just prior to his execution. Details of this escape are still being investigated. Full cooperation with inquiries will be expected. Indications are that the jailbreak plot was conceived prior to the convict's incarceration. It's believed that the convict engaged in some form of negotiation with prison staff in order to secure assistance. Full disclosure of information regarding these negotiations will be demanded. So maybe he did something at the gallows that would have allowed him to survive.
Well, in return, do me a favor and never come back here. That case is closed.
Well, I think we have to return to Baker Street for the time being. Yes, I agree. We need to report back to Mr. Sholmes with what we found about Mr. Vigil. What will he tell Miss Vigil, I wonder? I just noticed that we're an hour and a half into this. And, we don't have a client yet. We don't have a defendant yet. And that has me a little worried. 1st of November, Sholmes Suite. We're back!
Hello, you two!
Oh. I thought you, I'm sorry, I had Holmes' voice for a second. I thought you'd be back before long, so I baked some scones for us all. Ah, so that's what, that's... Greetings, my dear fellows! That's not much better. You returned a good deal sooner than I was anticipating. Hello, Mr. Sholmes. Hello, Mr. Sholmes?
Say nothing! Your thoughts are written all over your faces in any case. It turns out that it may have been advisable to test my hair color restoration tonic before application.
Oh my.
Pray tell me, what of our warder friend? Have you gotten some new information?
Oh, yes, something very surprising, in fact. Though it's not a patch on your hair, to be honest. It most certainly isn't, but still, we discovered that Sholmes! Drop everything, Sholmes! This is more important!
Gina?
Oh god, what's happening? I can't Adam and Eve it. What's happened?
Clearly a very grave matter indeed. For Miss Lestrade made no mention of my hair whatsoever.
It's the boss. What do you mean? Inspector Gregson? The boss he's...
Oh!
Alright then. But, Inspector Gregson? He was murdered? No, not Gregsy.
Come in, my dear girl. Tell us the whole story.
The inspector's death. Are you serious, Gina? Inspector Gregson was really shot? I don't know much about what happened to myself yet. I'm still there investigating the scene.
Where did this take place?
A little rented room in a building full of flats on Fresno Street.
The outskirts of town? Nowhere near his home. He was perhaps investigating a case then.
The thing is, no one at the Odd knows nothing about no case around there. Oh, how strange. The boss he was so good to me. I know I ain't up to much yet, but one day I was gonna show him. I'd become a proper detective. Poor girl. They really were like a pseudo father-daughter dynamic, weren't they? So who did this? Do you have any idea who the culprit is? They got him already. Already? They've caught the shooter so soon? Witness reported something was going on, and the boys got straight down there and took care of him. Who? What awful person did this? I think I know who did it! Mr. Vigil! That's gotta be the guy that has to be the guy they're accusing of this. And he's gonna be our client. Lovely! Oh, I can't wait to have Gina yelling at us for this. I still can't believe it myself. Gina? It was the Reaper? Van Zeeks? Wait a minute! You don't mean they've arrested Lord Van Zeeks for it? That's right! The Reaper's bloke's gone and shot the boss! No! Lord Van Zeeks?
That doesn't seem right at all. Van Zieks can be an asshole, but he's not a killer. Are you quite sure, Miss Lestrade? It's Baron Van Zieks the police have arrested? I saw him with my own eyes in the interview room at the Yard. I don't believe it. But there were witnesses, and they're all saying it was him. So you mean there were actually multiple witnesses? They had the gunshot, apparently. And when Arlock got to the scene, it was only the boss and that Reaper bloke in the room. But there's no way Lord Van Zieks would have taken Gregson's life. I just don't believe it. I don't believe it either. Poor girl. Thank you for informing us, Miss Lestrade. This really is most terrible news. I'm dreadfully sorry. What are you saying sorry for? You didn't do nothing. Well, anyway, I'm taking a cab over to the scene right now. Please come and all, as soon as you can. You've got to help. A detective's lot to appear wherever some sinister plot is unfolded. Little wonder we all look haggard. Sometimes these things are almost too much for the nerves. Mr. Sholmes. What use is there in being a great detective if I fail to see something like this coming? How could I let this happen to Gregson? To Gregson? Mr. Naruhodo, I shall leave at once to begin my investigations. Of course, yes, we will too. It would be helpful if you could talk to Mr. Reaper and see what you can glean. I'm sure you were intending to do so anyway. Until later, then. Inspector Gregson, dead, and Lord Van Zieks arrested. Bruno, Susie! I've called you a handsome. It's waiting outside. Thanks, Iris. Shall we, Miss Usato? Yes. First of November, local prison cell 1. There he is, Lord Van Zieks behind bars. So it's true, he really was arrested. He's sitting with his back to the wall, reading something. I don't think he's noticed us. Lord Van Zieks. Fancy meeting you here. The last place on Earth I'd like to be. With the last person on Earth I'd like to see. I think I'm getting the voice wrong. Hold on. No, I had the voice as about as right as I can get it. I couldn't very well not come. We heard what happened. That Inspector Gregson was... Go home. This has nothing to do with you. But... Forgive me, Lord Van Zieks, but I must disagree. Inspector Gregson was very helpful to us on a number of occasions. We're indebted to him. At the very least, we owe it to him to find out the truth about his death. You must help us with our investigations, please! There's really nothing I can tell you. What were you just reading at the back of the cell there? Was it something related to the case? This? The Yard isn't quite so cavalier with its information as to share case details with a suspect. This is a letter from an old acquaintance. Hairbrain? Oh, who might that be? Kazuma? Someone you know, as it happens. Albert Hairbrain. Okay, so that was my first guess. Of course, yes.
I keep forgetting they went to the same university.
And I would like to read my correspondence in peace. So let's get this over with, shall we? What is it you want to know?
Strange. I mean, let's face it, Lord Van Zieks never minces his words. But they seem to have less bite than usual somehow. What happened? Can you at least tell us your side of the story, Lord Van Zieks? What happened?
How much do you already know?
We know that the inspector was shot dead in a small rented room on Fresno Street, and that you were found there by the police when they arrived on the scene and immediately arrested. We were told that there was nobody else in the room and that some witnesses heard the gunshot.
Then you're well informed. And there's really nothing I can add. The truth is, I don't know what happened myself.
But the gunshot! Obviously you didn't fire the gun, did you?
I'm not in the habit of shooting the people I work alongside. I also heard the noise, however. Before I had a chance to investigate, I was apprehended by the arriving officers.
So he doesn't actually know what happened. If I might ask, what were you doing in that place to begin with?
I don't need to answer that.
Oh!
After all, you're not representing me.
Very sorry about that. He is going to need a lawyer, though. Your defense. Who is going to be representing you in court, Lord Van Zieks?
Anyone other than you, I should imagine.
Would I be right in assuming that you have no representation as yet?
Defense lawyers shy away from any trial involving the Reaper, as I'm sure you know.
But this is different.
In my career, all of the defendants I've prosecuted, only 19 have ever been acquitted. Of them, 16 subsequently died in mysterious circumstances. Questions will be asked now.
Surely not!
I assure you, no defense lawyer will want to touch me with the end of a barge pole.
But you didn't actually have anything to do with those people's death, did you?
It's been 10 years now that I've been known as the Reaper of the Bailey. Believe me, nobody wants to know the true identity of this killer more than I. However, it seems things may come to a head before I have the time to change. Before I have the chance to uncover the truth about that.
What does he mean by that? Capital punishment? Professor Harebrain's letter. After the trial, Professor Harebrain was supposed to go straight back to Germany, I thought.
It's a letter to inform me of his safe arrival at home. I arranged his passage by sea and rail. It's a relief, I must say. He should now be beyond the reaches of the Reaper.
Yeah, this does kind of imply that whatever is going on with this Curse of the Reaper thing, he doesn't have any control over it. Because the Reaper doesn't follow people abroad, you mean?
Yes, so it seems. Your astute little Nipponese friend, for example. You told me he was keeping well in Japan, I inquired the other day.
Yes, that's right. He's an author now, happily working in Tokyo. So Professor Harebrain is safely back in Germany now.
He is. So, it appears our conversation has run dry.
There was a 2-second silence, that's all.
Well, in any event, if you'll excuse me now, I wouldn't like to detain you.
I was wondering, Lord Van Zieks, if you'd like, I'd be happy to advocate for you.
You trust me, do you?
Yes. I've heard you speak many times in court. I've seen how you treat people. So I'm quite sure that you would never have taken another's life. It's just my feelings can't be used as evidence in a court of law, sadly. It's a very gracious offer. However, I trust no one. What? Not the police, not the judiciary, and not you Nipponese. But please. I have no intention of engaging your services. The chasm between us is just too wide and too deep, it seems. I'd appreciate it if you don't visit again. Then neither of us will waste any more time. Perhaps we need to dig a little deeper and find out more about Lord Van Zieks and what happened to Inspector Gregson. To Fresno Street! First of November, room on Fresno Street. Red-haired wig. So the League's involved in this, okay. This really is an out-of-the-way part of London. I doubt many people find their way down this back street. So this rented old room is where it happened then. So this is where poor Inspector Gregson lost his life. Yes, and the police are already hard at work investigating, it seems. I see the gun, I see a toy, I see the wig. There's a picture on the wall, and there's all that stuff on the board. I don't see Mr. Sholmes anywhere, though. Perhaps his investigations have taken him elsewhere? Oi! What do you think you're doing there? Every one of them drawers has got to be taken out, taken right out, so you can look underneath underneath it all. I want the space above the ceiling checked, and don't forget to look inside the chimney stack too. Blimey, ain't you lot never gone over our house looking for dough when the owners aren't out of town? Gina's obviously got some unique investigative techniques she wants everyone to adopt. Oh, you've turned up at last. Mind you, I ain't been here long myself. Hello again, Gina. Sholmes has only just left. You're lucky you missed that. He went prancing around here, pouring that stuff and flicking that out of his, and then just scuppered off. Oh, he's finished investigating already, you mean? Yeah, he didn't stop to say nothing to no one, not even me. Gina, would you mind if we investigated too? Listen, Odo. You're a lawyer, right? Yes? Why? Well, you're not thinking of trying to help that Reaper bloke, are you? This is what I was worried about. Oh! Poor Gina. She's never going to forget, is she? That trial will haunt her forever. Gina, if you don't mind me saying, if Lord Van Zieks really is responsible for this crime, he will be duly and fairly judged in court. I suppose you're right, yeah. Go on then, Odo. Get investigating. I want to know the truth about what really happened here. Thank you, Gina. Alright, let's do some examining first. First of all, since we're here... Actually, hold on! Is Mr. Vigil the killer? Because that looks like Miss Vigil in the photograph there. Oh, it's a photograph stand. I suppose it must be a picture of one of Inspector Gregson's family members. What's the matter? Your eyes look like they're about to pop out of your head. They are! Look! Mr. Naruhodo! Quickly! Why do I feel like this woman is familiar somehow? Of course she's familiar! We met her only this morning! Ah! It's Miss Vigil! This makes no sense. Why would there be a picture of Miss Vigil in here? To be frank, I don't think I've ever been more stumped. Excuse me. I'm sorry to say I have no idea either. The framed photograph has been entered into the court record. Well, let's see if there's a message hidden in the back. Oh! I can only examine it as a 2D image. For now! This looks like some sort of notice board or something. And it's absolutely covered in scraps of paper. Ah! Mr. Naruhodo, look! This, you mean? It's an autopsy report, isn't it? And these are case notes here, and details of prison inmates! Yes, in fact, there are all the sorts of documents that only a detective could normally acquire. What on earth went on in this room? Some little newspaper cuttings. Ah! And this one here! Oh yes, the advertisement, you mean? So the Red-Headed League. But why? What's that doing here? Whoever occupied this room was clearly interested in it for some reason. What does this guy say? Excuse me. Oh, Inspector. Oh, sir. Poor man. He can't possibly be able to focus on investigating when he's so upset. What's the... Really? Okay. An empty fireplace makes a room feel even colder than it would be otherwise, doesn't it? Well, that's because there's a big freaking... It's a freaking... There's a hole in the wall! It effectively means there's a hole in the ceiling! Heat rises, cold falls. I think that's how science works. It's thick with dust. Dust, look. I think it would be fair to say it hasn't been used in a very long time. In other words, whoever lived in this room must have been extremely hardy in cold weather. And nobody lived here at all and merely visited when the occasion arose. I wouldn't like to say which is more likely. No, that's right. It's one or the other. I wonder why I can't examine these. Okay, now let's go over here. First of all, the wig. Ever since we came in here, I can't take my eyes off this thing. Oh! Funnily enough, neither can I! It's a hairpiece, isn't it? It is! It is! A bright red hairpiece! And I suppose the fact that it's right there next to where the body was found means we have to accept that Inspector Gregson wore wigs. Does it? Or maybe he was looking to infiltrate the Red-Headed League? And in such a flame-colored red, too. Yes, that's a color we've come across very recently elsewhere, isn't it? Exactly! This is a vital clue, I'm sure of it! The red hairpiece has been entered into the court record. Let us take a closer look at that now. That's the wrong one. I've always wondered what the underside of a hairpiece looks like. That doesn't surprise me at all, Mr. Naruhodo. You always want to see what lies beneath, don't you? I'm not sure that's quite how I'd put it. You must have to use lots of bird line to keep it in place on your head, so it doesn't get blown off in a gust of wind. I mean, that might be a little inconvenient when you wanted to take it off again, don't you think? Okay, it's looking like it's just a wig. Alright, let's take a look at this. So I suppose this is where the victim... That's right, the rope is laid around the body to show exactly how it was found. Poor Inspector Gregson himself has already been taken away. It would probably be under Dr. Scythe's scalpel by now, if not for what happened last week. From the shape of the rope, it would appear that the inspector was curled up in a ball. Are you feeling alright, Mr. Naruhodo? You look like you've just seen a ghost. I know, it's just a rope, but, well, it conjures up quite a terrifying image, that's all. Especially with the bloodstain next to it. Oh, I do understand. in some ways, what we picture in our mind could be even worse than reality. Tsunoda-san is so strong, though. She's taking this far better than I am. Let's take a look at the gun. This is presumably the murder weapon, then. Oh my! It is real, I suppose! I think so. Guns are so rare in Japan, I really know very little about them. There's no other, there's one way to know for sure, Mr. Naruhodo. Fire a shot! No! If I did that, I'd be looking for a skilled lawyer to represent me in court. Slightly safer just to ask someone who might know, I think. The killer's revolver has been entered into the court record. Let's take a look at that. Maybe we can take a look at the little hook thing on the bottom. You know, this tells me, okay, I can't say I know the ins and outs of police work, despite having a family member who works in police. But maybe this is like they just kind of hang the guns on a wall by like a hook, and then they just kind of take a gun off the thing, and maybe that's what it's for. Basically, what I'm getting at is I think this is Gregson's gun. I suppose this must have been the murder weapon. Oh my! It is real, I suppose. I think so. Is this the same line of dialogue? Perhaps someone more familiar with firearms could shed a light on things here. Alright, and let's take a look at the doll. Oh, what's this? It would appear to be a little model policeman. It's rather charming, isn't it, in a way? Seeing as it's on the floor here, do you think it belonged to Inspector Gregson? It's a little hard to imagine Lord Van Zeek's playing with something like this. It's only about 8 centimeters tall. It could have fallen out of someone's pocket, I suppose. Excuse me. I think we should record it as evidence, just in case. Yes, I agree. It is rather delightful after all, in a way. Alright. Take a look at that. What? The helmet of this charming policeman appears to be a little worse for wear. I'm not convinced about the charming part, but yes, you're right. The head part looks like it's been fairly heavily manhandled. Almost as if someone had enjoyed twisting it around and around for fun. Shall we try twisting it around and around too, for fun? Excuse me. Sorry, I forgot to mute my mic on that one. What's that? It appears to be some sort of key. But it's tiny though. It couldn't be a key for a door, not that size. So what is it for, I wonder? Is it a key or is it some kind of a gun? This looks like some sort of key. Yes, it does. A very tiny and simple key. What's a little key doing inside a figurine of a policeman in the first place? What's it for? Hold up. Nope, still a 2D image. Excuse me. If you're looking down on us from the great beyond, Inspector, don't worry. We'll look after things at the yard. I've interrupted some deep thoughts there. Excuse me. Sorry, sir. Can't see a thing, sir. Too many tears, sir. Right. Perhaps I'd better leave you to your work then. Let's talk to Gina. Inspector Gregson. Gina, what was Inspector Gregson doing here in the first place? That's what I want to know. It's what, half a year since I got out of the clink? That's when I decided to give up me diving and become a detective instead. Oh yes, Mr. Sholmes twisted the inspector's arms to agree to take you on as an apprentice, didn't he? Something like that, I think. Anyway, the point is, I didn't really know much about the boss till then. But it turns out, he's a bit of a legend of the odd. Goodness, really? They say he managed to solve some really tricky case, just like that. He did? Yep, and ever since then, he started going out on all sorts of investigations, but always on his own. No one else at the Odd even knows what half the cases he's working on are, apparently. That's not how it's supposed to work, is it? So what was the legendary inspector doing in a dingy little room like this? I know he had a lot of respect for the Reaper and all, and look where it landed him. Respect for the Reaper? In what way? I didn't say as much. I take my hat off to that fella. Oh, where his was? Not how the general public feels, is it? Most people are terrified of the Reaper. Yeah, the boss said that's exactly why he respected the bloke. I didn't realize Gregson held the Reaper in quite such high regard. He said something else to me and all. I didn't need to worry about the Reaper, because he only goes after people what are bad. I did kind of set my mind at ease when he said that. Right. The crime scene. What is this place then? Does anyone live here? Apparently it's being rented by some code called Hugh Boone? Is that supposed to be Huge Bone? Okay. Hugh Boone. It's a sort of here today, gone tomorrow name, isn't it? Yeah, he's what we call an unidentified person. We haven't been able to get in touch with him. I see. Well, judging from appearances, I have to say this place hasn't been lived in for a long time, if ever. Right? All the lads on the yard piled down to get stuck into the investigation. But there's so little here, no one's knew what to do with themselves. I do wonder. Yes, Mr. Sato? Well, could it be that this Hugh Bowen is in fact Inspector Gregson himself? That's actually what I was thinking a few seconds ago. What? How could that be? Well, if he was investigating on his own, it's quite possible that this was in fact some kind of secret office of his. I never even considered that. Nice work, Suze. We're actually following a line of inquiry like that ourselves. You are? If you look around the room, you'll see there's a few things that hint at it. We should really investigate this place in detail, which I just did. The incident. I see that that's where the poor inspector was found over there. Yeah, that's right. They said it was a single bullet what did him in. I did not pay any attention to the candles. I thought they were just candles. Apparently, the bullet went right through him and stuck in that candle tree on the wall. Oh yes, it's blown one of the candles apart completely. And the gun used is there on the floor. It's the Reaper's, isn't it? No denying that. What? Really? How do you know that? Take it easy. I don't know what to do with myself when you stare at me with them big wide eyes. I'm only saying what I heard. I don't know much about guns myself. But there's some bigwig lawman or whatever who said so. Why don't you ask him? A bigwig lawman, is it?
Alright, we're at the 2-hour mark, and hopefully, I'll be honest, I hope this isn't going on for too much longer. Anyway, Fresno Street runs along under that window there. There was some street sellers just outside who were at the gun shop. Oh, but I don't recall seeing anybody outside. Yeah, they've all been taken down the yard for questioning, that's why. We're talking about the Oz legendary inspector here, after all. They'll be getting they'll be getting a grilling. You think we might be able to speak with those street sellers ourselves? I doubt it. The lads at the yards will just want to know what you're snooping around for, and you'll be up for grilling and all. So we can't interview the witnesses then. Shame. Alright, before I start presenting her with stuff, I'm gonna investigate the candle. That did not stick out to me, actually. The top of one of the candles is the top of one of the candles in this candle holder has been completely blown off. Yes, there's wax spattered on the wall behind. Look. What? I suppose if a bullet had hit it, it does seem likely that the bullet hit the candle, having first passed through the inspector's body. Now that wax on the... Excuse me. Now that wax on the wall looks like blood to me. What wax? I don't see any wax. I see bits of the wallpaper being torn off. Is that what it's supposed to be? Let's take a look at the candelabra. Ah! There's some black marks here. Look! Yes, they look like some sort of scorch marks, which is weird considering it's wax and it should melt, not burn like that. So bullets, so perhaps the bullet struck the candle here, do you think? It's only this one candle that's been cracked in half, it seems. Yes, I think you might be right. Firearms are rarely used by criminals in Japan, so I'm afraid I'm not particularly knowledgeable about them. Alright. Now let's start presenting her with stuff. Gina, what do you make of this? What is that? Evidence? Work something out about what happened, have you? Oh, no, not exactly. I ain't been long enough at the job to get all this deducting business yet. But I swear I'm gonna get the person who did this to the boss. Alright. Nothing. Maybe this? Oh, here we go. Oh, that business? Yep, Inspector Lestrade, soon had, that one buttoned up. I thought it was Mr. Sholmes who led that pair into a trap, wasn't it? Listen, Odo. It ain't easy going from East End Diver to Scotland Yard Detective, right? But anyway, it's all part of the charm, isn't it? Being a bit loose with the truth when it helps. That's wrong for so many reasons. Maybe I should get Iris to write stories about me. The Adventures of Inspector Lestrade! Well, that didn't help. I mean, it was entertaining, but it didn't help. I don't think this is gonna help her. Why do we still have the letter of introduction? Is there some other evidence that we overlooked? Oh, I don't know why, but for whatever reason I don't remember this moving this fast. Wait. Here we go. Somebody very haphazardly nailed those boards over the broken glass, haven't they? You couldn't even really call it a window anymore. Well, if you remember the window in Mr. Natsume's room, that was totally blocked up with bricks. This one does at least still let some light in. You could say nothing more about it. Oh, what was that talking about? Bricks. This one does at least let in some light, so you could say nothing more about it. I'm starting to feel even more sorry for Mr. Natsume now. Well, I've investigated everything there is to investigate. We've talked about everything there is to talk about. I presented everything I could present. So... maybe we go back to the Shulman Suite for now? Is he here? Nope. Alright. Oh, here we go. 1st November. British Supreme Court Lord Chief Justice's Office. You've made good time. I took an express train back to London. I can hear Lord Strongheart, can you? Yes, it sounds as though he's talking to someone. Kazuma! Is everything in place? I had a private compartment on the train so I could check all the paperwork. I need to get the Kazuma voice back. It's Kazuma-sama! Ah, your timing is impeccable. It is? No doubt you have heard the sickening news about the Reaper's latest devilry? Yes. I'm sure you don't believe it, of course, though, Lord Strongheart. That Lord Van Zieks could have done such a thing to Inspector Gregson? I believe only in the facts. And the facts in this case point to one thing. The unavoidable accusal of Lord Van Zieks for this crime. We must bring charges against the Reaper for taking the life of our legendary detective. Oh no, surely not! It's a truly regrettable situation. Tomorrow, the Forensic Science Symposium finally begins. At the very least, though, we can show the world our justice system's swift and equitable processes. So does that mean the trial is tomorrow? Precisely. In fact, this is a fine opportunity for introductions. Kazuma. Ah, but of course, you're already acquainted, aren't you? Mr. Asagi here will be present at tomorrow's proceedings as the prosecutor. Wait, what? Kazuma, that is different. I didn't think about that. I didn't think about who would be the prosecutor. As I'm sure you're aware, he's a very capable practitioner of law. Kazuma-sama, a prosecutor? Tomorrow's trial. I'm sure you can imagine that tomorrow's trial will be closely followed all over London. In fact, no, people all over the Empire will be watching closely to see how it unfolds. There's no salvation for anyone in a trial prosecuted by the Reaper of the Bailey, and now, the Reaper himself must stand in the dock. Quite so, the public wants answers about the Reaper.
answers about how and why those who escaped conviction subsequently died mysterious deaths. But Lord Van Zieks firmly denies any involvement in such matters. And there have been thorough investigations that have proven him to be innocent. That's certainly true, or has it been, or it has been at least, until now. Ah! No, tomorrow's trial will mark the start of a new chapter in our country's great judicial history. Prosecutor Asuki. So, Kazuma will be prosecuting tomorrow? That's right. But he's a defense lawyer, Lord Strongheart. A defense lawyer who's been training under a prosecutor. Accomplished young law practitioners cannot pick and choose their roles. And imagine what it will mean for the prosecution to know the strategies commonly employed by the defense. A devastating combination, wouldn't you agree? Absolutely. I have no doubt at all that Kazuma will be razor sharp as a prosecutor. But why Kazuma-sama? There are surely many other highly skilled prosecutors in Great Britain. It was a personal request. I asked to be assigned to the trial. You asked for this? But why? It'll all become clear tomorrow. I'm guessing you intend to stand for the defense, don't you? And that's gonna make things very complicated. Because Kazuma has basically been our inspiration as a defense lawyer, and now we have to face him as a prosecutor. Although, the Reaper appears to be turning down all offers of representation. I'm surprised such a personal request would have been upheld. It seems unprecedented. Quite exceptional, in fact. You are quite right, Miss Mikitoba. Tomorrow's trial will be unprecedented and exceptional in every way. Ah. After all, the accused is one of Britain's greatest prosecutors, the pride of the Empire. It would be unwise to give the public a reason to perceive it as a judiciary closing ranks. So that's why you're happy to let a foreigner handle the prosecution? Ryunosuke, let's see how your skills have been honed. After practicing law in this land for so many months, dude, you saw us in the courtroom just last week! What are you talking about? Let's see how your skills have developed. Kazuma, I don't understand why you're being so hostile to me now. This isn't going to end well, my friend. The killer's gun. Oh yes, we noticed that there was a gun at the scene of Inspector Gregson's death. Do you know if it belongs to Lord Van Zieks? That would be a question for the lead detective investigating the scene. Well, the thing is, she wasn't sure. So she told me to ask somebody higher up who might know. That's right, Mr. Naruhodo. Be direct. It's certainly a model that's issued to all personnel involved in law enforcement, yes. Which includes prosecutors, as I'm sure you can imagine. In that case, it could actually have belonged to the victim. No, Gregson had his gun on his person. What about Lord Van Zieks? He claims it's currently not in his possession. What? According to his story, he lost it. In short, it's more than a little suspicious. But just because the gun in question is the same type as the defendant's is no proof that it's actually his. No, of course not. Nevertheless, the situation is grave for Lord Van Zieks. Excuse me, I yawn. Alright, time to present everything! Could I show you this, Lord Strongheart? Oh!
Penned by Dr. Migatoba, I see. It's been 10 long years. But you remember my father, do you? Certainly, I remember him, and the 2 other visiting students. Of course, Migatoba was assigned to the hospital laboratory, so we rarely met. Jigoku, on the other hand, studied our justice system under my personal supervision. Oh, I see. As I said, that was 10 years ago now. But I'm pleased to see they've both made names for themselves in their particular disciplines. You know, I never thought to examine the room and talk to Kazuma. Well, here's the gun in question. And nothing. Got it. Alright. I'm sorry for all the worry I've caused you, but it'll be all right. Has your memory completely returned? Yes, completely. I remember everything, including what I was coming here to do. Right. Kazuma-sama, I can't tell you how happy I am to see you alive and well like this. But how did you come to be here in London when you were suffering from amnesia? It was the voice. This past year, I've been hearing it in my head constantly, saying the same thing over and over. Go to London. That's where your destiny awaits. It was that voice that guided me here to London. I'm so sorry for what's happened. Anyway, my memory might have returned to me, but there's something that won't return to but there's something that won't return to the way it was before. Huh? What do you mean? I'm a prosecutor now, so I'm sure our paths will cross again very soon. It doesn't look like we're going to glean much more here. Well, thank you very much, Lord Strongheart. Remember, tomorrow's trial will go down in our Empire's history. There's much you could learn from the public gallery. Sorry to have taken up so much of your time. We'll see ourselves out.
Hold it!
Before you go, Ryunosuke. Oh, what is it, Kazuma? I just wanted to thank you. Kazuma-sama, what? You took my determination to heart and brought it with you over the ocean in my stead. And you carried out my role to perfection. You always were intent on studying British law in order to change our own justice system. It was your dream, and Mr. Naruhodo didn't want that to die with you. Yes, but I had another purpose for coming here. Oh! I actually have a favor to ask. Which is? This trial will be I'll be prosecuting tomorrow. I'd like you to be there to see how it ends. Right in front of me, as the defense counsel. Why? What's this all about? I know you have what it takes. But Lord Van Zieks would never put his fate in my hands. On the contrary, he recognizes your talent. He does? It's not easy to see behind the facade sometimes. Here, have a look at this.
You know, it's actually weird seeing him smile. Like, it genuinely looks like Lord Van Zieks is struggling to smile. It's like, is this how you humans do it? That's Lord Van Zieks and Inspector Gregson. And a photograph that must have been taken some time ago by the look of it. And who's the third person? Probably his older brother. It was displayed very prominently in the detective's office. In Gregson's office, you mean? Yes. What I'm trying to say is, if you really think you can trust the Reaper, you might find that some straight talking makes him take a different view. Take it. Gregson's photograph has been entered into the court record. I don't understand. Why are you giving me this? Just hurry, Ryunosuke. Visiting hours at the prison are almost over. What are you doing, Kazuma? Up to the prison, I guess. November 1st, local prison, cell 1. Lord Van Zieks is still reading that letter. We've been gone quite some time, though. Either he's an incredibly slow reader, or it's an incredibly long letter. I might even be able to read English faster than he can. I was intending to ignore you entirely. But I can't turn a deaf ear to such an insulting Nipponese. Oh, sorry. I didn't think you'd hear that. I had the case notes brought to me in secret. I was reading them to pass the time. Yes, we heard that your trial is set for tomorrow. Which is none of your business. So, have you found a lawyer? How many times must I reiterate the same thing? This has nothing to do with you. In other words, no. We were just talking to Lord Strongheart and the prosecutor for your trial has been decided. I'd expect nothing less, though I have no idea who it is. It's going to be Kazuma Asagi. Asagi?! That made the color drain from his face, what little of it there is. Well then. It seems I'm going to have to engage in conversation with you again after all. Lord Van Zieks, we came by this old photograph. Where did you get that? It was taken when I became a qualified prosecutor. It's almost unbelievable. I assumed it was long lost. Is the man on the left there? Yes, that's my brother, Clint. The details of Gregson's photograph have been updated in the court record. It had to be, really. Apparently, this picture was prominently displayed in Gregson's office. He had a deep respect for you, you know? Were you aware of that? Respect? That's nonsense! No, we've heard someone attest to it very clearly. Inspector Gino Lestrade, no less. Well, maybe once, yes. There was a time things were like that. We were brothers in arms, jovial, discussing the future of justice and other such lofty subject matter. That was a nice glimpse of the past. I thank you. I feel as though I got a nice glimpse of the past then, too. There was a glimmer of light in his eyes, a brief twinkle. An insight into the true nature of this man known to all as the Stone Cold Reaper of the Bayleaf. Asagi. 10 years ago, my older brother, who was the director of prosecutions at the time, was murdered. And the killer, as you know, was a visiting student from the Far East.
Not a single day goes by where I don't curse the name Asagi.
Genshin Asagi was Kazuma-sama's father.
So what cruel twist of fate this is now, 10 years later. The man's son is to crucify me in some kangaroo court.
I still don't understand why Lord Van Zeke's apprenticed Kazuma to you.
It's what he does. No doubt he knew of the young man's true identity from the outset.
But what could he have been hoping to achieve? Let's not forget that it was only 8 days ago that Kazuma recovered from his amnesia. Why would Lord Strongheart assign this trial to somebody like that?
Asagi. That name is the very epitome of my bane. The bane that is you, Nipponese.
Right, your hatred of us, of all us Japanese.
The Nipponese bane. I'd only just been appointed as a prosecutor when it happened 10 years ago. My brother Clint, the director of prosecutions, was hunting down a mass murderer.
Excuse me. The so-called professor.
Assigned to the investigation as his partner was a certain visiting student dispatched from Scotland Yard.
And that was Genshin Asagi?
Exactly. I developed a deep respect for the man. He seemed noble-minded and chivalrous in the extreme to me. But none of us saw the true nature of the man. So I lost everything when it happened. My esteemed brother, the people I believed in, any semblance of right prevailing over wrong.
Oh, how awful.
To avenge my brother, I prosecuted in Asagi's trial. He wouldn't ordinarily have been allowed, but I beleaguered the ascribed prosecutor until he consented.
What do you mean by the ascribed prosecutor?
The man in charge of the professor case inquiry, Lord Mail Strongheart.
Wait, what? Lord Strongheart? I don't know why. Whatever. I thought Susano was talking there.
He was a highly accomplished prosecutor, but he agreed to relinquish the trial, relinquish the trial to me and act as my advisor instead. Since that time, he's the one person to whom I felt indebted.
I'm sure he must have seen your zeal for the case and recognized your potential as a prosecutor.
Anyway, time passed, but then earlier this year, who should arrive in London but you?
Ah!
And of all things, as a lawyer.
I felt your animosity the first time I ever faced you in the courtroom. Your obvious deep loathing of us Japanese.
I kept telling myself it was illogical. But for so many years, that hatred had festered inside me, I could no longer control it.
And I can understand why. Now I know the history. 1 second.
Excuse me. But in the same way that I've long felt the Nipponese to be the bane of my life, to Kazuma Asagi, I am the bane of his. The reaper who sent his father to the gallows. He's looking for revenge, and he intends to take it in court tomorrow.
Inspector Gregson.
Gregson's transfer to the Paris Police Prefecture had finally been arranged for the coming month. But he'll never make it to France now. It's a tragedy.
Oh yes, come to think of it, he did mention something about that, didn't he? I wonder, does it happen often? Being transferred internationally, I mean?
It's the first time I've ever encountered it.
Oh!
The Paris police welcoming an English detective is almost inconceivable. I can't imagine what kind of magic Gregson must have worked to put that arrangement in place.
It sounds like that mystery has even the Reaper perplexed. I'm afraid to say that we were very ignorant about Inspector Gregson's standing. We hear that he was considered something of a legend at Scotland Yard.
Again, it was 10 years ago that he first made a name for himself, by uncovering a decisive piece of evidence that exposed the professor's identity. If it wasn't for Gregson's singular approach to the case, the discovery would never have been made.
What sort of approach?
After my brother's life was taken, the inspector pushed for a full autopsy.
Oh my! 10 years ago? Why is that so surprising?
Autopsy was considered a desecration of the body at the time, and rarely performed. And my brother was of course a noble. That made the idea of it even more unthinkable. But something Gregson had dug up in his investigations made him determined it was necessary. His powerful conviction somehow influenced the House of Lords, and as a result, I could avenge my brother's death.
So you must have had great confidence in the inspector's abilities then. And it's even more inconceivable that you would have taken his life.
Inspector Gregson.
Your gun. About the gun used to shoot the inspector that was found at the scene.
Ah yes, that's not mine.
Really? Because common opinion seems to be that it is.
What do you expect me to say to that?
Lord Strongheart informs us that you claim to have misplaced your firearm.
And as embarrassing as that is, I'm afraid it's true.
When did you lose it then?
That I don't know.
Oh! It must have been like one of those things. I mean, maybe it was like one of those things where like you swear you see it out of the corner of your eye every day, and then like one day you need it, so you just go to that one place to see it out of the corner of your eye, and it's just gone.
I was issued with a revolver when I first became a prosecutor 10 years ago. I must have stowed it somewhere, I suppose, or left it somewhere, perhaps.
You have something in common with Lord Van Zieks after all, Mr. Naruhodo. A talent for misplacing things.
No, this has nothing to do with me. Don't drag me into it. Don't make the mistake of associating me with this Nipponese.
Oh dear, the rift is very wide, isn't it? So it's not decisive evidence, clearly, but it doesn't look good, that's for sure.
Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh! That's the first time he's ever used my actual name.
I've lost all confidence in my country's judicial system. I don't trust the police, the judiciary, or lawyers. But there's still one thing I'm willing to believe in.
What's that?
That which you see in the eyes of another across from the courtroom. A simple determination to know the truth.
Lord Van Zieks.
From the very first time we clashed in the Bailey almost a year ago now, I couldn't deny it, even though I dearly wished I could. Here's a loathsome Nipponese who has absolute integrity as a lawyer. There are only two other men I've known with that same look in their eyes. My brother Clint and Genshin Asagi.
The men he idolized and the man who betrayed his trust in the most hideous way.
When you showed me that photograph just now, it reminded me.
You mean this photograph?
Back then, I was able to laugh. I was free of the shackles of mistrust that plague me now. I look to the future with hope.
It does kind of seem like they designed his entire character with a frown in mind. So the picture of him smiling looks very unnatural.
Since then, I've protected myself against betrayal by refusing to trust anyone. But at times, the mire into which I've sunk makes it almost impossible to breathe.
I'm so sorry.
So, Mr. Naruhodo, I want to believe in that look in your eyes. I need to believe in it. In tomorrow's trial, will you advocate for me?
Of course I will. It would be an honor. I'm so pleased, Mr. Naruhodo.
That my life is in your hands.
For Lord Van Zieks, that must have been an incredibly hard thing to ask. Which is why I simply cannot let the man down. Tomorrow, in the Old Bailey, against my old friend, Kazuma. To be continued! Alright, I'm actually kind of surprised. I was expecting a logic and reasoning spectacular before I got to the end of this. But we're already past the 2-hour mark, so I'm not going to complain. Alright, so, in the next part, I guess we're headed to the first trial phase of this case, where we will be defending Lord Van Zieks in the murder of Gregson, of all people. That will be happening next week, Tuesday, 7 p.m., assuming all goes well with what I do before these streams. But in between now and then, I will be streaming Pokemon Crystal on Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And from there, we will be making our way through the Johto Team Rocket HQ. I will see you guys then, and if you have any money to spare, please donate some of that to some of the charities that are providing humanitarian aid to the Ukraine. Alright, I'll see you guys then.